When you wake up in the morning, everything is silent. No sounds of cars or talking. Nothing. You are now the last person on Earth. What do you do? I'm as nosy as it gets. I like to see how people live, interiors and such, so probably I would look into every and all homes possible. I'd drive to Washington DC and check out the White House, the Situation Room, and nose around at the Pentagon. Go to Andrews and peek around in Air Force One, etc. Make a bucket list of everything I've ever wanted to do and have. Then start checking shit off. Last on that list, pilot a plane. Last cause. You know. Just in case I'm not very good. Everyone can fly a plane. But some folks can only do it once. Go to some middle of nowhere town. Somehow find more lost people on Earth and have dysfunctional relationships with them all. I was literally just about to say do everything that Phil did in Last Man on Earth. I still hear my tinnitus, so I'm still grumpy. To get rid of it for a few minutes, put your palms on your ears. Then gently tap the back of your head with your fingers. Wonder why I wasn't invited to disappear with everyone. I guess you didn't believe in rapture like the rest of us. JK. This entire thread has forgotten about generators. I mean, when someone is faced with something as big as all of humanity being gone, it's easy to forget about stuff like generators. Play video games before power stations stop working. Then load up with food, water, medical supplies, antibiotics, etc. and the like. Then travel to the nearest good library. Live the rest of my life reading good books. Maybe even writing a little of my own. Hopefully I'll be lucid enough when death comes. And I can take my life before it becomes utterly unbearable. Enjoy the last 8 hours of power if I didn't already miss it when I was asleep. Then start stocking up on various supplies to get to a place where the nuclear power plants won't catastrophically fail and kill me. Write a memoir on multiple formats. Probably free pet store and zoo animals along the way, despite the fact that they'd probably end up killing me in the end. Go raid a adult store. Enjoy life to the fullest, really. 2 things. One is that generators exist and 2, nuclear plants would automatically shut down and be fine. Edit. Here's. I had this thought when I was a kid. That if that ever happened, I'd sneak into an arcade and play all the games and eat nachos all day. Honestly, still checks out. Make sure to stop at the grocery store to take all their quarters on the way. Then again, the last arcade I visited had stopped using quarters and had everyone put money on reloadable cards. Spend a couple hours looking for people. Realize I'm all alone. Go out and ride dealership expensive motorcycles and cars. Eat my favorite foods. Probably have a breakdown. Come up with a plan to find people, like wire up some massive speakers to a truck and blast out a message on loop while driving through towns. I'd probably keep trying. I could not accept being the last person alive. Setting a car in the middle of the street and setting it on fire would create a thick black smoke anyone around would be bound to see. Fireworks at night would work well too. Travel. See the sights of the world before I die. Probably die sooner than you think if you try to fly a plane or sail a ship on your own. Probably drop the world population to 0. Yup. Everybody I love is dead. There's nobody else around at all. It's only a matter of time before I starve to death anyway, since I have no survival skills and the canned food doesn't stay good forever. Shotgun in mouth. Steal stuff. Is it really stealing if you are the last person? I'm going to Subway and eat everything they've got. Then I would masturbate in some random prison. Since I don't have to call out of work, I smash my alarm clock. Let out a sign of relief that I'll never feel pressured into a social situation ever again. Finally, I have some free time for myself. Nobody will criticize my music again or its volume. Go and play Minecraft and get your first win of Skywars because you are the only one playing. Capital D. Then you realize that the only things left are the bots. If I categorically knew I was the last person and it wasn't a prank, I'd strip completely off and live as normal of a day as I could fully nude. Probably get a couple more hours of sleep. Get the shotgun from the gun cabinet. If I know for a fact that I'm the last person on earth, then there's literally no point in even being alive. The power will disappear after a few days. Water will stop working. I get that a lot of people are introverts, but that's mostly because it's super easy to entertain yourself nowadays. Good luck doing that without electricity and internet. Books? Hiking? Other stuff that doesn't require internet and electricity. But yeah, it would suck after a while. Wait for the phone to ring. You go weeks trying to find other people. There are none. You've gotten pretty good at the survival thing by now. One day you're outside hitting golf balls off the White House roof and suddenly your phone rings. You answer and hear a creepy voice say, "I see you." Then hangs up. What do you do? Going straight to Bon Appetit and making some food. Then I pack some bags and come back home to sleep. I will also visit some schools because architecture is cool. I also try to find some other refugees and throw away my remaining HW because no one gives a funk about grades anymore. In my area. Shut off water and gas to every house I can get to so whatever is in the pipeline is preserved for later use. Forage and get as much medical supplies. Canned food. Books. Get to a beach or place where I can fish for food. Find a farm with chickens. Bees. Nut trees and a well and move in. Get some food growing on the farm. Go walk around sports stadiums, airports, runways, beaches. All of these places would be quite awesome without people. Straight to the liquor store. That bourbon Scotch shelf and locked cabinets are mine. Cry knowing I won't get to see my kid grow up. Then see if I can print every photo from my phone or find a solar charger to keep it charged. Start heading for good soil, so either north or west. Find maps and libraries along the way. Probably die trying to survive and not an old man. After getting over the fear and shock, set up a base in or very near a supermarket. Source portable generators while the internet is still up and running. Start a journal of my experiences. Spend a few days getting drunk and forlornly accessing various forums online looking for other survivors. Get a gun and ammo from a police station or army base. Go exploring. Start with other people's houses out of idle curiosity, freeing every pet who might be trapped indoors. Then get a car and drive around the country, seeing the now deserted landmarks, and looking for cool stuff to do. Ultimately, create a sign of some kind that would alert others to the idea that I was alive. Leave painted messages on bridges. And on as many major airport runways as I could find, or be bothered to find. Consider moving into a landmark like Buckingham Palace. Or the White House. Well, technically a girl could go house by house trying to find semen to repopulate Earth. But one of the children should be necessarily a boy. But as the man I am, I would probably fap to death. Sorry if any of you wanted a more satisfiable or less gross answer. I just couldn't help wondering how it would really be. I would take off my clothes and walk around freely. I would then gather all of the dogs and become the canine commander. Loving and caring for all the pups until I die, because what better way to live a life than freely with an army of doggies? Well, first thing I'd do is collect as many candles as me and my neighbors' houses have. And considering that they are mostly old people houses, it will be pretty easy. After that I'd get as much ice as possible to store comfort food and freeze water. Reason being, the ice will keep the liquids cold enough to drink. You will have to switch cars pretty often because if you're the only person left on Earth, then it means no power, no shipping, etc. So you would be relying on everything a town city has. Assuming that everything is organized instead of like people just vanish, then it would be a lot safer to walk the streets without vehicle and building rubble. So you just loot stores of everything they have, like food and water. But eventually buildings will break down due to inactivity, so you would eventually die, but you either do all of these things or just die a painful death. Easiest question of my life. First thing I'd do would be get into my 2020 lifted diesel Chevy Silverado with mud tires and make my way down to my local GNC. There I could get all of the pre-workout powder I want. I'd snort it all. Line after line would be railed until I couldn't feel my face. That's when you know that tea hits. Then I'd hit the Iron Sanctuary House of Gains for a sick pump. There would finally be no line for the squat rack. Too many sissies hit in 135 pounds deadlifts, so I'd hit that baby first with a new PR for every rep. 600 pounds. Then 700. And then 800 glutes for the sloots baby. After I hit the gym I'd fill my bathtub with milk and protein powder and then drink my own bath water to assert my dominance upon my 3 purebred German shepherds. They would then communicate with other dogs in the area and crown me a king, deity even. I then would send my dogs racing outward in every direction, expanding my empire, until I rule all of the dogs in North America. Then I'd probably take a nap or something IDK. Load up my generator. Hitch up the fifth wheel RV and travel the USA. Canned food will be good for years in areas below the frost line. Diesel will be good for years. I just have to filter it more. Find a mansion out in nature and then go around and make friends with all the abandoned pets and give them a place to call home. Then basically just spend my days cuddling and caring for them as best I can. I'm not a huge fan of people anyways. But for whatever reason animals make me blissfully happy. Doesn't sound half bad to me at all lol. Actually thinking about it, I think I would be so f***ing scared. I mean, imagine being alone in the whole world. In the whole universe. No point in living anymore. Probably would kill myself. And I am not suicidal or anything, but in this case I think I would. Gather certain supplies I know exist in some nearby houses. Steal my mates and dealers' weed, in other words. Stock up on ciggies, booze and food and go explore the world. I would head north up to Scotland and check out some epic nature before working my way back down through the Lake District, Wales, and then head to the south coast. Wait for a good day and kayak across the channel to France, then go round Europe. If I had time before I died I might attempt to get to Africa on a sailboat, but that would probably result in my death, but I'm sure I would die happy. All the time I would go through people's houses to see how they lived and find cool stuff. I might try and figure out why everybody disappeared, but to be honest I don't think I'm clever enough to do that, so I try and spend my days high enough to not care. Quite honestly, I'd cry for my mom. I love her so much and would miss her a lot. I'm a teenage girl and find the fact that I love her so much kinda embarrassing. Then I'd probably go into the mall and try on all the super fancy clothes. Maybe I'd watch some movies I wouldn't be allowed to watch otherwise. I'd call 911 just to see what it's like. And because I'd have some false hope, I'd call everyone I know and try to contact someone. Anyone. Then I'd write a note about how I was the last person on earth and put it in lots of different files, places online and in writing. Just in case it could be found someday. I'd play my favorite music real loud and then kill myself. So I could go out hearing something I like. Then, hopefully, I'd get to see my family and friends again after I died. Celebrate that the goddamned coronavirus is over. 13 days later. Develop a cough. Die from the coronavirus. Get to grips with my tinnitus. Then start venturing to a beach or pool with the most comfortable vehicle I can find and just enjoy the peace. Also would have to learn how to properly fish. Would we know that we were the last person? Or just assume it because there's nobody in our city town? Wherever a person was there would be a pile of clothes and whatever they had with them. So yeah, you would know that you're the last person, I'm pretty sure. Go on a walking holiday to the west with my dog and hopefully find other lost people. Why west? Denser population. Better chance of finding someone. Plus winter here is the pits. Eventually set myself up with a nice solar power system at a temperate home base and relax knowing the weight of social expectations, money, political chaos, and the desperate struggle to be noticed in an ocean of people is all gone. Just me, my dog, my chickens, and my scavenger lifestyle. Maybe aliens will finally get me off this fucker's planet. Probably mourn the loss of my friends and parents. Do some looting and B&E. Do some traveling across the country and eventually find a quiet spot and eat the barrel of a gun. Hit Total Wine and grab all the super expensive booze I have never been able to afford and hoard it before some other last person on earth does the same. Learn how to make or run some electrical source, move to somewhere in Canada. Get an army of dogs that I can use as protection and companions. They could die if they are stuck in a house with no source of food. Then I would train myself using YouTube videos to get good at knife wielding, karate, using a bow and arrow and stuff like that. Then I would learn how to make my own food. After that I'll probably try to find out what happened to humans. See if I could ever find them. Well, unless there's a note in my fridge saying son, we went extinct and you're now the only and last person on earth lol. I'd probably follow my day-to-day routine until I notice something's wrong. What can take a few minutes thanks to internet. Then I'd try to find more people. I mean, it can be kinda hard without everything it now like power and etc, but still being the thing. I'm social, I have needs. Just like I do every morning. Have coffee. Smoke cigarettes. Get high and turn on loud music. Then I see what the tide rolls in. Go to Area 51 to see what was there, and when I absolutely knew I was the last person on earth I would kill myself. OFCK. I missed the takeoff for the global interstellar travels. They'll be back in a day or two probably. Double quote. Rejoice. No more politics. Worrying about rent, war, taxation, and social media garbage. I'll probably do myself in soon after that. But at least I'll have some freedom for a while. I'd spend the next decade trying to work with stored eggs and raise kids. Except now I'm the God King and they will help me remake civilization. With the perk of me being the leader. If I was a woman it'd be off to the sperm bank before it all thawed to get the all-human machine ticking again. Then after that I'd go somewhere primarily powered by solar and begin starting humanity anew. But since I have a penis, I guess I'll be walking around nude doing whatever I please and getting non-perishable food from the grocery store. Start raiding liquor stores. Maybe move into the National Airspace Museum. Live in a space shuttle. I dunno. I'm young. Plenty of time to do wacky stuff. Gotta get some penicillin though. I break into Tiffany's at midnight. Do I go for the vault? No. I go for the chandelier. It's priceless. As I'm taking it down, no one catches me. Everyone is gone. In the morning, no one comes and I escape. I think about going to Mexico. But I go to Canada. I like the cold. 30 years later, I get a postcard. I mailed it to myself. This is where the story gets interesting. I act like I'm going to Paris by the Trocadero. I don't show up. I go to Berlin. That's where I stashed the chandelier. Twist. Everyone has gone to the underground bunkers. Cameras have been installed everywhere above ground, capturing any and every moment. All these nosy people are recorded, captured and jailed for entering said restricted areas. Basic survival first: gather all gas and non-perishable food in my area. Try my best to get a good all-terrain vehicle. Probably head to a freeze-dry place to freeze-dry plenty of good food. Then it would be time for the fun stuff. I go and raid every dessert shop and donut shop. I want to try the best in the country. Now, I then go to Japan via the boat I took from a dock in Cali. And live out my life in the mountains. Taking some of the good stuff up there. Wonder why the rapture left me behind. Borrow a car and travel around the US. Hitting every connected state. Then spend the night sleeping peacefully without the noises of the outside waking me up. Look around people's houses. Find the nicest car near me. Go to a motorway and just go very fast. Go to shops. Get new trainers. Go to restaurants, eat the nice food while it's done and not gone off. and carry on doing whatever the FCK I want. Fill the bath. Sink and all the containers I could find with water before it goes out. Get on the internet and download all the porn I can find before those servers die. Also get the hoist data for as many domains as I can so I can drive to the servers and pull the drives. I'd go to the nearest shop and get supplies like books, batteries, food so if something breaks I can fix it. Also get some electronics so I can play games. If I didn't know that I was the only one left, I'd steal a car, I don't own one, and try to find someone. After I realize no one is left, I go home and create a bucket list and start checking things off. Yeah, no. Just live the rest of my life as I'm still pretty young. But I'd also go to my bestie crush's house and grab some of her stuff to remember her as I'd cry a lot. BC all of my friends are gone plus my family and FCK I did IT again. I write too much. I would miss my family and feel bad about all the pets left behind. If I had energy I would play games. If not, just take no breaks from stores and play games. And plant something to eat, move to the beach and fish. Would have a blast tbh. But priority number 1, print PDFs on farming. So I don't starve. Number 2, make sure I got some dogs and that's it. Great life by the beach with lots of boats to use. It's not that bad at all. I'd freak out because no one is then regulating the nuclear power plants and so they all would eventually blow up. So I'd probably map out where every single nuclear plant is and ensure I'm nowhere near any of them just to be safe. The Chernobyl power plant is so massive that if it failed, the entire world would be killed by the nuclear radiation very quickly. Assuming I would actually survive for a while, doubtful. But let's pretend. I'd want to find a way to tell my story. And the story of our end. To whoever might find it in the future. Might be new intelligent life. Might be aliens. Whatever. I'd have to do some research to figure out how to do it. I'm sure smarter people than me have thought about how to best leave a message that might last. If nothing else, I could at least find some radio equipment or something that would let me transmit a signal into space. A last farewell to the stars. Then I would die. Hopefully in peace. As a person who lives in the country, if I woke up to cars and talking I'd be awfully concerned about what the heck people were doing on my property. Haha. I don't think I'd discover I was the last person until I drove through town on the way to work and noticed the gas station wasn't open. I'll be real with you. I'd go insane very quickly and probably end up doing something suicidal before too long due to there being no one to say something to, no one to interact with, and no one to help. It would be very sad as I think about everything that was lost unexplained in a day. Cry for a while at the loss of my brother and friends and family. Then end it all. TLDR. I'd give up very quickly and die.